It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime, everybody. What's happening? I hope you had a great weekend. It's Veterans Day. So first, let me shout out to all the veterans, those who are with us, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice or joined the ancestors. Thank you and your families for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you so, so much. Monday, it's brand new day, brand new week. The Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles and on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab, rip some of the video, make it go viral, like and binge watch all my back episodes. Make sure you do that, and please, or in my famous James Brown voice, please, 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 please leave your comments in the comment section. If you're watching me live tonight, I have a chat room that is open, so please leave your comments in my chat room. You got a question, comment, you got a question for my guest who will be on with me shortly. He is a best-selling author on Amazon. He's got a brand new book called Before I Let Go. It is a new motivational book. Angelo Ellerbee will join the show shortly. So first of all, I need to start off the show to continue a theme from last week. I talked about this company FUBU out of New York, Damon John, who you see on the TV show The Sharks with Mark Cuban. So Damon John and his partners, it was four of them. They started a company back in the 90s. It was an apparel line, apparel company, clothes. They had like really, fly outfits for us. And it was called FUBU. FUBU is an acronym. An acronym is a word that contains four words. Each letter stands for its own word. FUBU, for us, by us. And we are now living in a time in America where really we are for us, by us. We are all we got. But the truth is, we are all we ever needed. And we are all we need. Black Americans have a 3 trillion with a T spending power. Now we got to convert a lot of that spending power into wealth, which goes to my theme, for us, by us. We all we got, we all we need. We have to invest into each other. We have to invest into each other financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We have to build our own schools and make sure that we have libraries in our homes. We have to support each other on every level of business, finance, and healthcare, and medicine, black doctors and black lawyers, black accountants, black investors. We have to do that, but we got the blueprint. We lived through this. Well, we didn't. Our ancestors lived through this time. The end of Reconstruction around 1877. After the Civil War up until 1877, black Americans made incredible amount of progress. And then the white nationalists, Ku Klux Klan members of that era, they rebelled and they created Jim Crow laws. And we understand the history of Jim Crow and the violence, the murder, the lynching, the rape, the legalized segregation and discrimination. And in spite of that, our ancestors said, for us, by us. We built our own communities. Communities like the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black everything, hotels, all type of businesses, doctors, dentists, lawyers, banks, every type of business you could, movie theaters, every type of business you could imagine was in the Greenwood District of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now you had the race massacre in 1923, was burnt down by those whites that were envious and jealous and had hate and racism and bigotry in their heart. And would you believe our ancestors, they rebuilt Black Wall Street in Tulsa, even better than it was the first time, until the government built an interstate highway through it like they did many black neighborhoods. So for us, by us. That's got to be our mantra. For us, by us. We're all we got. We're all we need. We got $3 trillion with a T, $3 trillion in spending power. We have to spend it wisely. We have to invest it wisely. And we have to spend it in the community to build this community and build the culture out. And I want to speak to black women again. As a matter of fact, Thursday, this was my main theme. I had a conversation today with an associate of mine. She was really down. Her spirit, I could just feel the energy. And I said, listen, my sister, I'm going to tell you what I told black women, all black women in America. Please hear me. I'm going to bring up my guest. Black women of America, black men, real black men, the 80%, 80+% that voted for Vice President Kamala Harris and voted for freedom as opposed to oppression and a dictatorship. We got you. We got your back. Real black men, we got you. We got your back, and we love you. We would not have gotten here had our ancestors not worked together. And those outside of the community have tried to pit us against each other, black men against black women. Time out for that. We're not going to let that happen. We got to this point because we stuck together. You know, if you hold your hand out and try to punch somebody, you can break a finger. But when you bring those fingers together and form a fist, it's got a lot of power. So, real black, if you haven't heard it, and to all the real black men, the women in your life, or maybe just a friend, a neighbor, or old classmate, call them up, go see them and tell them, we black men, real black men, we got you. We got your back, and we love you. And together, for us, by us, there's opportunity in chaos. Our ancestors built communities, built cities, and we can do it even bigger and better. We are the dreams of our ancestors. We are the most intelligent in terms of academically, in terms of degrees. We are the most degreed. Black women are the most degreed people in America. More black women have especially higher degrees than white men, white women, Asian men. For us, by us. We are all we got. We are all we need. All right, I want to bring my guest on. He has a top 10 seller on Amazon. He is his clients, because he's done a lot of work, artist development and publicity. He's worked with everybody from my girl, Mary J. Blige, Kool and the Gang, Dionne Warwick, and a whole lot more. He's got a brand new motivational book called Before I Let Go. Sounds like a Frankie Beverly song, Frankie Beverly and Maze. And Maze, Frankie was all about community, culture, love. We are one. Remember, Frankie had a song called We Are One. And we are one. Remember, for us, by us. We are one. We are all we got. We are all we need. Let me bring on my guest to the show, Brother Angelo Ellerbee. Brother Angelo, welcome to the show. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, man, it's such a pleasure, man. It's such a pleasure. And I love your dialogue. I think it's so very important that we begin. You know, it was a saying many years ago about it takes a community, or it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
In this day and this time, it takes a community to raise a culture. And I'm so very, very, very on to what you were speaking of. I think it's really important that we understand the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who said to us some 30, 40 years ago that we must have our own. And so people who don't look like you and I poison the minds of people who look like us to say this man was racist. He wasn't racist. He was about the people. He was about the culture. He was about the unity. He was about the togetherness of our people. And it's so important that we look at where we're at today, in this day and time, of how important it is that we are a community of people, that we love each other. I tell people every single day, my brother, I am romantically in love with Angelo Ellerbee. Because when I'm in love with me, I can be in love with you. I can care for you. I can feel your sensitivities. I can feel your trials and your tribulations. It's about caring for one another. It's about, and you mentioned in your dialogue about the vice president. She didn't lose no race. She didn't lose the race. What we have to understand is not about winning every race. It's about staying in the race. If we stay in the race, we eventually got to win, don't we, my brother?
That's right.
And I think that what she has done is open up the doors and the minds of her constituents and others of the greatness of who we are as a people. It's great. It's wonderful to be great. It's fabulous to be greater. And then it's incredible to be the greatest. And I think that she's opened up the doors to let us all know that we are great people. We're God's children, and we must blossom together. We must work together to bring the cause across the way that the cause needs to be brought across.
And
So
Brother
yes,
Ellerbee, I don't know if this is a TV show, not a church, but I would say the doors of the church are now open to touch, as they said when I was a little kid in the little storefront
but
church I went to. The doors of the church is now open because there is greatness inside of each and every one of us. But when we
yeah,
bring that
we all
greatness
are winners. We all are winners.
and when we bring that greatness together collectively, and that $3 trillion just here in America spending power, not to
Yes,
mention the entire diaspora, the brothers and sisters over in Europe and England and France, not to
yes,
mention the mother
absolutely.
continent. I could go on and on and on. As a matter of fact, some of my monologues from my past shows, I talk about all this. This is the energy that my monologues have. I brought you on, and I think this is a new motivational book, and God didn't make any mistakes, as my grandmother taught me, and as my mother, who's watching me now, always tells me. And maybe when you wrote this book, you probably didn't have any idea that maybe the divine forces knew that a new motivational book, Before I Let Go, was going to be needed in this moment that we're living in now more than before. So if you don't mind, give us your origin story and then tell us about the book Before I
So
Let Go.
so I wrote the book because it's not because of my celebrity alignments, and it's just really a template to my life. The book was for the layperson. The book was for the drug addict. The book was for the incarcerated. The book was meant for the domestic violence victim. The book was meant for the cancer patient. The book was meant for the HIV positive and AIDS victims. I believe very much in the belief of God. I really do. And I want you to understand. I may take you to church
That's okay.
and I'm going to leave you there
Well, my
because
mother
I
would be
think that's,
happy, Angelo. She's right now. She's post right in my chat room. Anybody else who's watching, she'll be like, "Well, honey, Jeannie probably ain't been to church, so please minister him, preach to him."
well, I'm going to preach to you about the importance of how God gives us all chances in life. He gives us chances after chances after chances, but we, as the elders in this society, become judge and jury. We become bullies. We become all these things that we should not be because he's in charge. And when he's in charge, you have to let these people make their mistakes and correct their mistakes because he gives us a chance and he gives us chances. So the book is about enriching lives, motivating lives. And it's not just for the young, because I think sometimes we're remiss in forgetting the history of our mothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our great grandmothers, the history of our existence, the people who fought the fight. These people fought that 68, that Martin Luther King March on Washington. They were there being hosed and bit by dogs. I want these people to understand that he loves them too, and that they fought the fort so that you and I can walk through the Garden of Eden and understand the importance of the contributions that have been made by our ancestors. I think today that our young people misunderstand the fight is not over. We have just begun to fight the battle of life. I know that everybody is alarmed over the fact of who won the election, but that just tells us what we need to do in our individual communities. We need to embrace our young mayors, our elected officials as our council people, and start to really come together within our own communities to understand the importance of contributions into our community. We got to begin to pour into our communities. So this book is about motivating people. It's not about, the celebrity side of this all is just not important to me. What's important to me that I'm able to reach the masses in my message about how to exist, how to live, how to think outside of the box, how to think about what's next in my life. How can I help the next person get to their apex of success? That's what it's all about for me, man. It's about give back.
And you mentioned that this book is really not about the celebrity part of your life, but what I like to ask you, because you have worked artist development, publicity, like I say, with some of the biggest names, my girl Mary J, Kool and the Gang, Dionne Warwick, just to mention a few. But what I'd like to know is how your experience working with some of the biggest names in entertainment over all these years, how that influenced the book and how you see everything now, considering the times that we're living in. How did that
it's all
help you with this book?
You know what, it was no more than examples. And I use these examples of Mary J. Blige and the Dionne Warwicks and the Whitney Houstons as examples. They had struggles, they had plights, they had difficulties in being who they were. And I want that layperson to understand they're not enduring anything any different. It's just a different page in a different book. They had to fight through, and particularly Dionne had to fight through that 50s and the 60s
Yeah.
of segregation.
Oh my God, yes.
Of going through and singing all these hit songs and people thinking that it was a white woman singing those songs until she appeared. That's the history that I want to tell young people, what we had to fight for, how they had to go through the back door, how they could not sleep in the same hotels that they were performing in. This is the history that is remissed in our storytelling. We must begin to tell the history and the stories of how somebody got from point A to point B.
And Angelo, that is so important. And I'm glad you brought that point up, because something that I want to mention, just related to the my monologue and to what we're talking about. The history is, for me, I'm thinking of two main reasons why it's so important. One, it is instructive. Like I said, we have a blueprint how to handle and deal with the times we're living in now. I cited 1877, the end of Reconstruction. That was the era of so much black progress, businesses. You had black politicians, senators, from the slavery era to politicians and owning land and businesses and senators, and there was a backlash. So here we are in 2024. It's just another black backlash. But we've got the blueprint. But it is also important that we tell these stories and teach history, because when you don't learn history, you are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past.
Exactly.
And it is so important that we teach each other, young and old, the history to empower us and to realize what our great-grandparents and grandparents, what they went through. You talked about Dionne, my late grandfather, who was in his mid-70s when I was born in a little small rural town in Mississippi, Yazoo City, Mississippi, and maneuvered his way as a tailor all the way up to Chicago with my grandmother and my mother. Can you imagine what he served in World War One? What he had to navigate to make it alive out of rural Mississippi in the 1890s? So the point that I'm making is that we all have those stories in our family. You do, everybody that's watching me, that's African American, that's black, we got those stories. We just have to tap into the energy that's in our DNA.
No, that's very true.
We are
That's
the
very, very,
dreams
very
of
true.
our ancestors. My grandfather
Very, very true.
dreamed that he would have a grandson that would have a television show, his own media company, that would have a 30-year career in radio, to work in the deep South in Charleston, South Carolina, and have a #1 radio show for 20 years. My grandfather couldn't even dream that, but they dreamed big. So if we just tap into what's already in our DNA and pull out that blueprint, Angelo, there's nothing that can stop us but us.
The thing for me, there were back in the day and time, we had to research. There was no computers. We had our encyclopedias. We had all those things. We need to understand that we've been raped, robbed, pillaged of our history. And if this young generation wakes up to understand what somebody else went through for them, they would have an appreciation of the struggle,
Yes,
of what we went through. And then the game would be changed. You know, I just remember as a young adult, a young child, going through high school, and we could not get Black history. Black history was not it was an elective. It was not accredited at all. It bothered me then, and it bothers me now, how we were just pillaged from understanding the various contributions and the true story of the history of Black Americans and the contributions that Black Americans made to today's society. And particularly when we go into the music industry, how we were robbed, raped.
literally,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, when we start talking about gospel, we talk about jazz, we talk about blues, we talk about every particular genre of music.
And now we talk about hip hop, Angelo.
It's taken that they take it from us every single time. The key thing is that I want young people and old people alike to set that voice and set that talent to the left side of their career and focus into the central point, which is the business of music. You need to understand your publishing rights. You understand what recoupables are. You need to pay your taxes. You need to be on your job. You need to understand of how to select a manager, because I look at management like this. I look at courtship. I look at courtship first. When you court somebody, it's one thing. To court somebody, then to be engaged is another thing, right? So you're spending time knowing somebody before you go to marry them. When you go to marry them, that's something that they're going to get revisuals from you for the rest of your life. So it's about business, the more than the talent itself. If the talent is apparent, it's going to be. But you wind up losing as an artist when you don't select the right team of people to be a part of your circle. That's what happens so many times, particularly when we talk about hip hop. I managed DMX for 7.5 years. I started out as his publicist and went into his management and then started running his company. And I used to say to him, Earl, do you understand taking 40 people on the road with you, what that's doing to you? No, man, they cool. Okay, so when we go through your monthly statements, and we did, I said, you paid for 29 rooms in a hotel. You had food for people 3 times a day. You gave them a per diem, right? Don't get lost in the sauce to think that this record company is giving you They ain't giving you nothing. What they're doing to you is what they have done to so many others, is get theirs before you get yours.
That part.
So when you start to calculate the kinds of money that you have spent on your boys, I always give them these imaginary maturity pills. I told them to take it one time a day with a big glass of water and grow up and understand that this is called the business of music.
Speaking of
It's
business,
important.
Angelo, one of my viewers wants to know I'm sure there's a book tour. Tell us where, when, if you got some cities and dates,
Yes,
please share
you
that
know,
with us.
let me say this to you, man. I'm so blessed. God is so amazing to me. Yesterday I spoke at the Columbia University in New York City. I'm going to Carnegie Hall and I'm speaking next
Wow.
week there, and I'm blown away. I'm coming into on December the 4th to the 8th to Atlanta,
Okay.
and I'm doing a series of TV interviews and I'm doing a
Yeah.
series of meet and greets. I'm going, my agent called me today only to tell me, he said, well, your book is now #1 in London. And would
Congratulations.
you, thank you very much, man. She said, they want you to come over. And I said, absolutely. So we're building this schedule. Is coming, new dates are coming in every single day. I am so very, very thankful for the consumers, the constituents who have made this book #1 for 9 weeks in a row.
Wow.
So I'm blessed.
Congratulations.
I'm very, 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 very blessed.
So, are there any other cities here in the U.S. that you've got
There
on your
is,
book tour?
man, what they're doing. I have this incredible team of people that are working to bring things together for me. So I'm doing a lot in New Jersey and New York City. Listen, I believe very much in campaigns. And I felt like I was almost running for some kind of office and setting up this book because I started these meet and greets where I asked my friends in the music industry to have a meet and greet in their house, invite 30 people over.
I like
And they
that.
would, this is how the book went #1. I did this from March until I'm still doing it now. We went out, I spoke to them, I read chapters from the book, the whole of the bit, and people did the pre-sales of the book. So I'm still doing sales of the book in New York and New Jersey. Um, and the schedule is still building. I promise you, I will let you know when there's a completed schedule for the new year.
Well, listen, I think you just put a great idea out there. I know my mother's watching in Chicago.
Hey,
We
Mom.
we got people watching. You know, the great thing about YouTube is global.
Yes.
So I would say if you're watching me in Chicago or Detroit, he's already coming to Atlanta. I got people out in Los Angeles. I got a daughter in Portland, Oregon. We got folks in Milwaukee, down in Memphis, in Houston. So if you are watching and if Angelo has moved you because the brother's energy is so positive and spot on, and he understands the assignment. And for all of us that do understand the assignment, and the assignment is we are all we got, we are all we need, for us, by us. We come together and build this community, and it's been done before. We got the blueprint. But I love the idea. So if you're watching in any of those cities or any city that I didn't mention, maybe you'd like to either at your house or maybe, you got like a party room or wherever where you can invite 30, 50, 100 people. Angelo, I'm sure you've got some contact information. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media and where they can order the book on Amazon, anywhere else. I want to order an autographed copy. I'm sure you probably got some of those. So
I'm
give
going
us
to
all.
send you an autograph copy, not just for you, but for your mom and your daughter as well. And so they can always go to Amazon. The book is there at Amazon. And on my social media side, they can go to the doubleexposurenyc.com. Man, you know what I like about this show? I like that you care about your people.
I was raised that way, man. And I've been having this conversation for 6 days now. And I have been saying, because before last Tuesday, this was the energy of the show. I use my celebrity And as an entertainer, TV, radio host, comedian, motivational speaker, that's just the candy to get people to taste the show where I can feed them the wisdom, the knowledge, the wind beneath their wings, that energy,
Yes.
that connectivity that I knew there was a chance that we would need it, but now we're here. The moment is
That's
here.
wonderful.
So I didn't have to change up a thing, Brother Angelo. Trust me, you can go binge watch any of my shows. October, the show turned 4 years old. That has been the core of my monologue, even with my humor, rooted in, listen, I've always said, and I'll wrap up, and want to get your final thought. I love people in general. My grandfather, who grew up in a very segregated era in the rural South, he loved all people. He literally would speak to every person that he saw when we would walk the street downtown Chicago in the neighborhood, black, white, Hispanic, it didn't matter. Men, women, he spoke to everybody. So in my DNA, I love people. I'd rather help people than hurt them. If I don't like you, I don't mess with you. As the kids say, I don't
I'm
F
with
with
you.
you. But I am
Right.
unapologetically pro-black, because America has been unapologetically anti-black for 400 and going on 6 years. And all last Tuesday did was just to prove that point. So it's nothing new. Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And now it's, what are we going to do? There's a famous quote in the movie Untouchables. What are you prepared to do? Brother Joe Madison, who was a legend on a talk show, radio host
I
on
love
Sirius
Joe.
XM, he would say,
Love Joe.
what are you going to do about it? So I've been doing, it's like I've been driving at 90 miles an hour. I didn't have to speed up and slow down. Now folks are like, okay, we're going to have to get on this highway and make it happen. So thank you. Amazon. By the way, what about, can we, bookstores? I'm sure that brick and mortar stores.
They can go to Barnes and Noble, all the Barnes and Nobles across the country. They all have the book. And I do know that when I'm in Atlanta, I'm doing 2 or 3 shows, book signings in Atlanta. And I promise you, I will let you know. I will make sure my Valerie Suite reaches out to you and give you all of the dates of where I'm going to be appearing and where I'm going to be talking. But man, let me say this to you. Please, please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep informing people, enlightening people, and inspiring people. Please continue to educate, stimulate, and motivate young minds, old minds across this country. I applaud your efforts, and I thank you so very, very, very much for your willpower in keeping hope alive.
Well, Brother Angelo, God don't make any mistakes, and I want to thank you for being the best thing to happen to me. Those words mean more to me than you will ever know. Those words empower me more than you will ever know. Like I said, as my mother said, Jeannie, God don't make no mistakes. And
No, he
this is
doesn't.
just affirmation that what I've been doing all along, your comments, and it's going to be people like us. We're going to come together, and we're not going to we're not going to get everybody. We don't really need everybody, and we can't trust everybody. So we don't want to let perfect be the enemy of the good. The vast majority of us understand the assignment, and in spite of all the narratives that the world says about, black folks can't stick together, all right, watch. As the kids say, F around to find out. You have to watch what we can do collectively because it is that time. And every time I have a conversation with a brother like you or some of the sisters that I've talked to, that's just affirmation that, yeah, now's the time. Now's the time.
Let's just stay in that race, brother. Stay in
Thank
the
you.
race.
I'm right there. The book, Before I Let Go, it is a new motivational book needed more now than ever before. Angelo Ellerbee, you have a permanent home on this show, brother. Feel free to come on as a contributor, talk about whatever it is, because it is clear that you understand the assignment, and you understood the assignment when you wrote this book and probably didn't know how needed this book was going to be when you first. How long did it take you to write the book? Real quick.
It took me a good 2 or 3 months, but I consulted with this incredible writer, Kevin Taylor, and we would just meet and talk every Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning for those months. And the intriguing thing was I found out so much about me. I found out about me in this book of understanding life and lifestyles and removing all the pre-thoughts of what I felt about a particular community or a particular person. You know what? I think spending time with yourself is so important.
Yes.
It gives you time to really think, to evaluate and motivate yourself, which allows you to motivate the next man.
Angelo Ellerbee, everybody. Before I let go, it's a top 10 seller on Amazon. We're going to make it number one. It's already number one in the United Kingdom, in England.
Yes.
All right, so we got to make it this home. We got to make it number one continuously on Amazon, New York Times bestseller, all of them. Angelo Ellerbee, may God continue to bless and have favor on you. You have a permanent home on this show. Thank you for the honor of coming on. Thank you for just your spirit and energy, because it's important. Like minds and like spirits connect. And that's how we will get through this thing and not just survive, but thrive, because we've done it before. We've got the blueprint. Like you said, just study our history. Just tap into our power and study our history. Our ancestors, they've already laid out the blueprint. God bless you, brother. Thank you, Angelo.
God bless you. Thank you so much, buddy. Take care now.
Wow,
Bye-bye.
that was wonderful. All right. Shout out to
Thank you
Angelo
so much.
Ellerbee. Hold on, everybody. Give me 1 second here. Let me just do something real quick. There we go. All right. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Show live, the Geno Jones Show live, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles and the West Coast. Tell everybody to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe and share, screen grab, rip some of the video, like, binge watch all my back episodes, and please, got a lot of comments. Thanks, everybody. Please leave your comments in my comments section. So we got comments in the chat room, but I'm gonna need you to leave these comments in the comments section on my YouTube page, because that will help my media company and my business out a lot. So thank you to everybody watching. Yeah, 843, of course, my mother. To Valerie Sweets, hello there. Thank you for watching. Everybody, man, this was a great show. Shout out to Angelo Ellerbee, his book, Before I Let Go. Make sure you get the book. And if it's an audio book, get that. It'll be a great Christmas gift, or just any gift, because books like this and messages like this is needed now and more important than it's been in years, decades, right? Thank you for watching, everybody. So we'll see you live Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central Time, Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles. Let's make this show go viral, because it was fire. Once again, Angelo Ellerbee, his new book, Before I Let Go. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, brick and mortar stores. You can find it online. Or go in the bookstore, go in Barnes & Noble, the bookstore, and buy several copies. All right. Thanks, everybody. I love you. We'll see you live Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.